Hey everyone, decided to be a bit unconventional for this next video. No fancy camera, no tripod, it's just me and my iPhone and this selfie stick that's giving me all types of trouble. I've had to refilm this a few times, so hopefully this works out. Actually on vacation right now. I'm in beautiful Jamaica. Let me show you the view real quick. So yeah, just here swimming with dolphins and visiting family and snacking. Let me show you. Snacking. Yes. Okay. So this poem is going to be a bit more personal than anything I've ever posted on my channel before. Like most poets, I started out writing poetry that was about love and heartache, and all I wrote about was myself, and it was fine. It was just like that's just all I did, you know. And it wasn't until like 2008 that I wrote my first like social justice themed poem. And mosquitoes, man. And yeah, so social justice themed work has kind of been my niche for the last few years. I certainly haven't stopped writing poems about love and heartache. I just don't share them, you know, because I sort of got in my head this misconception that I stopped being a good poet and started being a great poet when I stopped only writing about my own problems and started writing about everyone else's, you know. I also sort of, I developed this thing where I felt like there were poems that were meant to be read and there were poems that were meant to be said. Poems that were meant to be read, meaning poems that like stayed on paper, that you shared visually. Phone is dying. Rather than through a spoken word. Yeah, and so with those two things sort of working against me, I didn't really feel comfortable sharing anything personal. I didn't think it mattered, you know, to speak about like my own heartache, or when I could speak about larger issues that affected everyone, you know, like police brutality and injustice and street harassment and homophobia in the Black community. And it wasn't until a couple months ago when Beyonce released Lemonade. I loved the poetry in Lemonade. I had Twitter help me with the pronunciation of the poet's name. Warsan Shire. That's as good as we're gonna get. I have this thing against butchering people's names if I can help it, so I tried. I absolutely loved the poetry in that video. It was just like I can make a whole video on that in and of itself. So I basically realized that the poems in Lemonade were pieces that, had I written them myself, I would have labeled them poems meant to be read rather than poems meant to be said, you know? And so to have Beyonce like breathe life into poetry that I previously would have felt was better off left on paper, it just completely changed my outlook on sharing my own personal writing. And so yeah, I mean, I think love and heartache are topics that are just as universal, if not more so, than the themes that I've previously shared on my channel here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just felt like I needed to give a little intro. So this poem is called Inspiration. Yeah, so shout out to Lemonade, shout out to Beyonce, shout out to water sun. I hope I'm doing that right. Shout out to the man who inspired this like 3 years ago. So yeah, here is inspiration. I made residence in your mind and I occupied your heart, but I never knew what it was like to be physically inside you. My tongue pushing past your lips doesn't quite compare to penetration. See, you know what it's like to be inside me. You know what my warmth feels like from within. Familiar is the feeling of me closing around you tightly. You felt my pulse beat beyond the seal of my skin. I never knew what it was like to be physically inside you, but sometimes as you slept on your side, your face close to mine, I'd coordinate our breathing so I'd inhale the breath you just let out, and then you'd breathe in the air I just held. We continue in this intimate, equal exchange, trading my essence for yours, and I'd watch your chest rise and fall in slumber with the satisfaction that a part of me was in fact inside you. I'd breathe, I love you, and watch my words fill your lungs. Your diaphragm would dance, capacity expand. I'd imagine your blood turning bright on my behalf, seeking solace in your most distant cells. You called me your latest, your greatest inspiration. You meant inspiration as in muse. The way I meant it was withheld. I never knew what it was like to be physically inside you, but I guess being figuratively inside you counts as well. Inspiration.